disrespect, respectfully. But disrespectfully is disrespect. Don't be disrespectful. Those vile, disgusting Spartans. Poor little bro, them. And I'ma tell them why I'm mad. That vile, disgusting cesspool in Columbus. The other state, and of course, as always, I'm upset.
Maize and Blue Nation, it's Tom Brady. I co-founded Autograph with one mission in mind: change the fan experience for the better. That's why I'm excited to announce the release of a new app that recognizes the biggest Michigan fans. The Autograph Fandom app gives you access to the best Michigan content, fan challenges, and exclusive rewards for diehard Wolverines, all for doing the things you already do, like listening to this podcast. Head over to the Apple App Store and search for Autograph Rewarding Fans and download today.
Good evening, good people. It is I, the Maize Mad Man. I'm here with my guy, my co-host,
the Maniac.
And we are here for a special edition of Eminem Mondays on a Tuesday. We going up on a Tuesday. Obviously, yesterday, some things got in the way. I blame myself for that. But we here today. That's all that matters. And we are going to be talking about Michigan football, of course. We got to start with Michigan football. Then we're going to, of course, get into our big conference top 5. The Maniac got his, I got mine. We're going to discuss it. Y'all tell us what y'all think about it. Of course, if you are subscribed to the channel, you probably saw it in the community already. But we're going to tell you why we made the choices we made. We're going to get into all of that. And then we'll get around the country, talk some top 25, our thoughts on it, your thoughts on it. We're going to talk about it. But first things first, Maniac, the state of Michigan football. Where are we right now? Going this week into Washington. First road game. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, man. Listen, again, it's tough, right? Because you see Dexter Green was going on, champ. It's tough because the first half of the USC game, the first half of the game with Minnesota, you say, damn, this is Michigan football. This is what we're capable of. And then we get to the second half and things change. And then you start to say, what kind of team we have here? So it's tough, man. I really don't know. And this week, without a doubt, I know they're a tough team. They're resilient because they do find ways to win. And that's what matters. Not every team could do that because we're going to get to the team that we're playing this Saturday who has lost 2 close games, who hasn't been resilient, but they still a tough team, right? They lost on pretty much the last play to Washington State. They ran an option to the short side of the field. They got stopped. And then at Rutgers, they missed 3 field goals, including the last one to tie it.
Right.
Michigan football for me right now is in an okay place, right? And the reason why I say this is because we still have veterans. We're 4-1. But things could go left very fast for this team. That's the scary part, right? Because it's still a lot of unknown with this team. And we're going to go into a very hostile environment. It's a night game. And I told you this, man. I said, I hope that Washington game ain't a night game. And the football god said, night game. So, but again, if we want to be considered an elite program, the year in and year out, like the Georgias, like the Alabamas, unfortunately to say, like the Ohio State, right? We want to be up there every year. Listen. We got to go into Washington, and we got to win. Michigan's record has been atrocious on the West Coast in the regular season. So the good thing is this Washington team is no juggernaut. This ain't last year's Washington's team, right? So that's a good thing. But they not bottom feeders neither, So I think that we're going to see where this team is really at this Saturday on the road, night game, hostile environment, to see as a collective group, how do they look, how do they gel, and do they come out with the victory? And if they don't come out with the victory, how did we lose this game? Of course, will be the questions we'll ask.
Absolutely. I agree with a lot of what you're saying. Obviously, it's an important road game. It's the first road game of the season against an actual, good, solid team. Let me not say good team. They're solid. They're rebuilding. Jetfish, I've former Michigan assistant coach, offensive coordinator. So he knows the program a little bit. This is a different team, of course, but he has familiarity with Michigan. I see some people talking about. I saw Ripstar saying Nick Sheridan for head coach. We'll get into Nick Sheridan here in a second, but first I want to address P. Maximus says, "What up, M3?" Sharon says they're going back to ones against ones in practice. What do you think about that? I like it, man. I think it's a good idea. They definitely need the offense. Certainly needs to face that type of defense on a regular basis to try and improve, like you said, iron sharpens iron. So I'm with that. But yeah, I think this a big game. Every game, honestly, for Michigan from this point going forward is a test, and it's going to test Michigan in terms of their ability to score points, their ability to pass the football when needed, because you're not just going to be able to run for first down on the first 3 downs every time, right, on every possession. So it is what it is. We know where the deficiencies are. There isn't a lot of depth, especially along the offensive line. And I'm talking about offense now. The offensive line, there isn't a lot of depth. We need to know what we have in these receivers. Sometimes they look like superstars, and other times they're just non-existent. Colston Loveland obviously is needed. So there's a lot to unpack there. Now, I want to get to, I saw another interesting comment. Here we go. Nick Sheridan for HC. I wish we would have saved this a little later because we're going to get into that Alabama game and stuff like that. Nick Sheridan, of course, the OC right now for Alabama. And he is doing a good job, especially with a dual threat quarterback. It would be nice to have, some of the wrinkles they have in Michigan's offense. That said, though, this is Nick Sheridan's first real offensive, he's just the offensive coordinator there this year, right? Last year he was coaching like tight ends or something like that. He is Nick Sheridan, a former Michigan quarterback, by the way.
Rich Raw years.
Yeah. So
his first quarterback.
Right. So there's that, but at the same time, man, I'm not about to jump out the window head first. We know Kalen DeBoer is also has a hand in that offense. So I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna jump out the window head first. I think he was an offensive coordinator for Indiana one other year. So it's not like he has a ton of experience at offensive coordinator. I think he is benefiting from the roster and from his head coach at this point. But, that is what it is. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, look, I remember, I believe in, someone in the comments could, fill me in. I don't know if it was 13 or 14. Was it Doug Nussmeier? We brought him in as an offensive coordinator. He was the offensive coordinator for Alabama in one of the national championship years for Nick Saban. The Michigan fan base went crazy. Oh, we got him. And guess what happened? Right. Nothing. He went to Michigan and it's nothing. So I do agree with what you said regarding he is benefiting from a loaded talent that Alabama has, right? And let's be clear, man, DeBoer's a hell of a coach, right? Yeah. He only lost to Jim Harbaugh last year, right? So this guy is a proven winner everywhere he's gone, and is no different in Alabama, right? And on top of that, he's replacing arguably, right? It could be debated the greatest college football coach of all time,
right?
And Nick Saban. So the pressure's enormous over there, and he's doing what he needs to do, man. He got his team cooking. And man, shout to Alabama, shout to DeBoer, man, because people say, "Oh, Alabama, welcome to mediocrity." I don't see that. We don't see that. So, they keeping that team glued together. So I'm not, as far as Nick Sheridan go. Yeah, I think it's too premature to say that.
He's proven nothing to me. And even at Indiana, I think DeBoer was there when he was the OC there. So he's done nothing yet. I do think he deserves this credit. Don't get me wrong. He deserves credit for what the offense is doing this year. Some of that credit, but I wouldn't give him the lion's share of that. And we'll see what happens. That said, I am not giving up on Sharon Moore and this coaching staff. I believe in Sharon Moore. I believe in the coaching staff for the most part. I do think Kirk Campbell is wilding a little bit. But I've already expressed my thoughts on that. I think Sharon Moore should take over the play calling. We've gone over that to nauseum. I'm not going to keep, beating that dead horse. That said, we have arrived at that time of the show where we show you our big conference top 5. It's the big conference. I'm not calling it the Big Ten at this point. It's like 37 teams in there. So it's crazy, yo. It's just the big conference. We're going to kick it off, my guy, the Maniac, in his top 5. Let me share this screen with everybody so you can see that. At least I thought we could see that. There we go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's that time again, gentlemen and ladies, if you're in the chat today. So, as you know, again, just in case we got any new people in the chat, me and the Madman, every week we give our top 5 Big Ten teams of the week, of the past week, not overall, just for that week. So let's get right to it. Reason I picked Penn State, obviously, of all the teams on this list, they had the biggest matchup. They went up against Illinois. Ooh. Illinois being a team who has already beaten a ranked Kansas team at home, went on the road and beat a ranked Nebraska team in overtime and proving themselves in this game. They was in this game the whole game to the end. But being that Illinois was a ranked team, and they proved they worth. You mentioned it, a whiteout. We know that's probably the toughest environment of all in college football to deal with. Michigan has done horribly in them whiteouts under the Jim Harbaugh era. We'll see moving forward, but that's the reason I gave it to Penn State, man. They get my number 1 team in the Big Ten. Now, as my brother would say here, the other state, they finally somewhat played somebody, right? Michigan State's been solid. Let's just keep it real. They went into East Trashville, whatever you want to call where they play at. And they dominated. Seen some little vulnerabilities in Ohio State defense, but nonetheless, they took care of business. And they got it done, man. So they did definitely look like a top 3 team, regardless of the competition they play. And they made it look easy. That game was never in doubt. Rutgers. Here we go. Rutgers, who just played Washington Friday at home. Again, normally this is a game where Rutgers will lose. Rutgers, again, is showing everyone, not only in the country, but also in the Big Ten. Hey, listen, we are becoming a Big Ten team. Look at their identity. They want to run the ball. They want to pass it here and there, but they want that physicality. Like I said, Greg Schiano, he wears his attitude on his sleeve, and so does his team, man. Rutgers, good, solid win. They pulled it off thanks to the Washington kicker. He did miss 3 field goals, but they got it done nonetheless. Was that 4-0 Rutgers? Wow. Indiana, number 4. Of course, I think they played the lesser of the opponents. To me, between Washington and Michigan State, I think, Maryland is probably beneath those teams, but Indiana again shows that high power offense, 2-headed monster at running back. quarterback. Even though he was kind of sloppy this game, threw a couple of interceptions, game was kind of close, but Indiana again showed that they're not a bottom feeder anymore in the Big Ten. They're going to compete mid-tier team here, and they looking good. That coaching staff right now is looking beautiful. Shout to Indiana. USC, the Trojans. It was looking like Michigan had broken them for good, but they broke out of it. Momentum. Just like the Michigan game against Minnesota, same thing with USC, Wisconsin. Wisconsin dominating 21-10, control of the game, play a muscle punt. USC gets it. It was all she wrote from there, 28 straight. So USC again. So those that say we beat an overrated USC team, say what you want. They rank 11. So if you haven't beaten a ranked team yet, please don't talk to me. And that's
Here we go. The Maniacs top 5. And now I'll show you my top 5. We'll break it down, and I'll explain myself, even though I don't like explaining myself. But here we go. Here's Triple M top 5. I got Penn State at number 1 too. I think they played the toughest team, Illinois, even though it was a home game for Penn State, and it was a whiteout. Illinois came to play, and they were in that game for most of the game. In fact, Illinois could have won this game with a couple, fumble here and there, right? That said, or interception, however it may work out. That said, I got Penn State number 1. They beat the best team this week or this past week. Oh, I almost said it. The other state, number 2. For a lot of the reasons my guy gave, they finally play a Power 4 team. It was poor little bro Nim, and they treated them like poor little bro Nim. But in the first quarter, let me say that. First quarter, I thought, Aiden Childs did some things. They looked like they could play a little bit, but then, it is what it is. Poor little bro Nim remembered who they were. Indiana is in the number 3 spot for me, still undefeated, playing decent football. I like them. I'm not saying that they're the 3rd best team in the conference. Make sure y'all remember that. This is just based off of last week. I like Indiana and what they've done so far, and last week they looked good. Number 4, I'm giving this to Michigan begrudgingly. I say that because I don't necessarily think Michigan played better than USC, especially in the second half. In the first half, I can make the argument Michigan played better than everybody. The second half, there is, then they turned into, some team we are not familiar with. But Michigan at number 4 because they beat USC as well. So I'm going to keep, even though it's supposed to be based on last week, I'm giving a nod to the blue. And then finally USC, tale of two halves, just like that Michigan game, like my man talked about. They were down big at halftime, turned that thing around on its head. I think they ended up winning by double digits. So USC gets the nod for me in my 5th position. What do y'all think? What would your top 5 look like? Let's talk about it. I know Ripstar disagrees.
Yeah.
Michigan should be number 1.
Yeah, Ripstar. We can't be biased, man. We are Michigan.
We have Davis Warren,
and he's
that automatically makes us number 1.
And he's gonna win. He's gonna win the Heisman. Rip Warren's winning the Heisman.
Shout out to Dexter.
Yes. Hello, gentlemen. I'm late. Dom.
What's
Dom. What's going on?
Meat chicken, number 1. Absolutely. I get it. Let's move on. Talk about some things around the country. There were some good games, man. Miami escaped versus Virginia Tech. Because that was looking crazy for a minute. Of course, Bama and Georgia play an instant classic. Gotta give that credit where it's due. But let's talk about the top 25. Alabama takes over as the new number 1 team in the country, followed by Texas, the other state. Tennessee up to number 4. Georgia falls to number 5. What do you think about that top 5?
I think that top 5 is very justifiable, man. Tennessee went to Oklahoma, won a tough game. They didn't just smoke Oklahoma out, but They won. They dominated that game. So, they in the SEC. They playing the SEC East. So they have to play Georgia. And I believe they play Bama. Bama might be on Tennessee's schedule this year because Bama's on the West, right? So, that's great. I mean, after the show in Alabama show, they definitely deserving of number one. I mean, Texas and Alabama's right there. I think 1A, 1B. However you want to mix and match, it really doesn't matter. But yes, Alabama has the best win so far this year. And then you have Ohio State. Yeah, we'll see what they made of later in the season. When they go to Penn State, they go to Oregon, and of course they play this team, the best.
Yeah.
And there was in Georgia, being at number 5, I like that because they show grit, right? That the way 28 zip to Alabama and Tuscaloosa in a night hostile environment and took the
like
lead.
That could get real Shabba ranks.
Real Sam Cassell,
Right.
So we were talking. We're like, oh shit, we going over the back and forth. I think my TV was a little bit behind. Yours was a little forward. But anyway, the point is Georgia is still a top 5 team. Anybody that thinks otherwise is delusional. I think Georgia, they do play Texas soon. So that's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm. That's a fact.
But I like
we got 23 people in here. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Share this with your friends on social media and all of that. You already know that though. I don't got to tell y'all that. Y'all know that. We're not ready for that. But top 25. My thoughts on the top 25. I'll go ahead, or top 5 rather. And I agree. I think Texas and Alabama are interchangeable at this point. Texas has played an extra game. I would have kept them at number 1 personally. First of all, they beat the defending champs. I gotta give them credit for that. They went on the road and beat the defending champs. Alabama played Georgia at home this time, so I think that gives them a slight edge there. The other state at number 3, okay, Tennessee looks like the real deal. They're playing offense and defense, something that you usually don't see from them. Georgia, I would agree, fall into number 5. I think I'd have pushed them outside of the top 5. I'm gonna be real with you, just because they were against Kentucky. Now Kentucky turned out to be a halfway, at least decent team as they beat Ole Miss. They took down Ole Miss this past weekend too. But Georgia hasn't exactly, the last couple of weeks, it was real shaky, but they got it together in the second half of this Alabama game. I understand that. I would have put Oregon at number 5 over Georgia, maybe even Penn State. I might put Penn State over Oregon really at this point. And those teams are 6 and 7, followed by Miami, Missouri, and then Michigan rounding out the top 10. Michigan certainly should be a top 10 team in my opinion. I'm going to go ahead and say that. The defense is still elite. We know what we need to fix on offense. Whether or not it gets fixed, we don't necessarily know. But I'm sure that they are working on that diligently in practice. Leave Sam Cassell alone. Texas plays Oklahoma this weekend and Georgia the week after. That's going to be tough. That's a tough.
Texas got that gauntlet.
Double there.
So
Penn State was very physical, Yeah. So, I mean that Penn State game was a physical game. Illinois, like I said, came to play. I like what Penn State did. They showed me a little something in that game, if nothing else. But that's never the question with Penn State, honestly. Every year the question is, can Penn State beat the other state? Can Penn State beat Michigan? Now with the addition of Oregon and USC, are they going to be able to beat those teams? That's the real question.
Yeah. And you're right. And just getting back to the top 25 real quick. And this is the beauty of college football. I tell people every week, it could be an upset. Miami, they running through everybody. At home against Virginia Tech, when life and death. Life and death. This is what I'm telling you. Ole Miss, right? Everybody laughing at Georgia. They struggle against Kentucky. What Kentucky just did. Be the top 10 team on the road. Listen, this is college football. This is why, again, I'm going to say it for the last time. Michigan style that they playing right now suits them perfect for the Big Ten. Every week, Michigan has a chance to win in the Big Ten based on the style they have and the talent. Of course, you got to have talent to win. But if we were in the SEC, then that would have been a different story, man. It would have been bad. We can't win in the SEC with this style. In the Big Ten, yes, until we get things figured out. But we still got to get it figured out. We don't want to be prolonging this.
So let me ask you this, because you know how people feel about Big Ten versus SEC, that sort of thing. Are you saying that the SEC is the better conference?
So I would say top heavy, right? And that's always been the case with the SEC. People, the SEC, no, Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Mississippi State, who else? Tennessee for years has been, listen, even though in the bowl season, I think in the last 10 years, the SEC does lead the Big Ten, which I don't care because I'm just a Michigan fan. I don't care who wins, but just for, football talk, it's been there. The Big Ten and they right there with the SEC. The problem is they recruit. That SEC overall always has the best recruiting rankings of all conferences. They get majority of the talent. It's in the South. It stays there in the SEC. Now you add Oklahoma and Texas, forget about it. And then the other half goes to Ohio State, right? And so it's not really much. This is why I always cook the Ohio State fans, because you get SEC talent every year and don't do nothing with it, and you just want to cry about cheating. Like, man, shut up. But anyway, I think top heavy, if you put the top four SEC teams right now, right? Bama, Georgia, Tennessee, and maybe Ole Miss, right? We'll see who would emerge as the four, or Texas, excuse me, against the Big Ten's top four. Let's say Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, and Michigan. I think on the neutral field, the SEC will be favoring in all those games, and I think they would win. Because of those four I named you, who you give Michigan a good chance against? Tennessee, Ole Miss, Georgia, Alabama. Because we already know what Texas
definitely Ole Miss. I think Michigan beats Ole Miss, by the way.
Okay.
Because I think somebody in here just pointed that out. Kentucky is kind of like Michigan light. And Michigan will be able to run the ball on Ole Miss and play good defense. So I think Michigan takes out Ole Miss. Then we have Penn State and Tennessee. Give me Penn State right now. In a close game, a very close game. Very close game.
I think.
And if we,
you know what? Go ahead.
And if we put Oregon on Georgia, I would take Georgia. And then Alabama and the other state, that one is the game. Now, here's the thing. If we switch that around, though, if we put the other state on Georgia, give me the other state. And then if we take Oregon against Alabama, I'd take Alabama.
Yeah, I don't look. Obviously, Ohio State could beat all those teams. Like, I'm just being a realist. They have they have the talent to match those, but I don't think Will Howard is the answer.
Taves the Cane
for DJ Waller. Yeah, he's in Kentucky. I don't like that matchup for Ohio State. Maybe the good thing is that maybe down the line in the playoffs, because Ohio State will be in the playoffs, but there's going to be like 3 to 4 SEC teams in the playoffs, at least 3. I could see Georgia, Bama, and Texas.
Struggle said the question could beat any of them.
Yeah. No, we know that.
Oregon, I don't know. I don't think Oregon could beat any of them.
No, he's right. No. So I'll tell you this, Mad Man. The reason why Oregon, they can, because they do have an elusive quarterback, right? The SEC always had trouble with those kind of quarterbacks. The question becomes is, can Oregon's defense hold up against the likes of Georgia? I think stylistically, they match up better against Georgia than they match up against
Oregon.
Yes. I think Bama beats Oregon by 14 plus. But Georgia, I think Georgia beats them, but that's a game they could win. Because Georgia, look at the team offensively, they're not really that explosive. They don't got those weapons, even though they still was cooking Bama late. But not like Bama. Bama got weapons, bro. They like the U.S. Army. Bama.
I honestly think they have a problem against Georgia too for this reason right here. It's not necessarily like their quarterback and their skill players, because they got skill players that are as good as any of those teams, like any of those SEC teams and the other state, right? In terms of skill players, they're good. That said, it's in the trenches where I think they're going to lose the battle to a Georgia or Bama. I think they can beat Tennessee. I think they can beat Ole Miss, because Ole Miss has those same issues, maybe a little less of them on the offensive side. But sure, I think Oregon can play and beat any of those or those two other teams, but I think the other two, Georgia and Alabama, get them a long day. By the way, we forget about Texas. Texas is the team and not Ole Miss, by the way. So if we take out Ole Miss and replace them with Texas, because that's really the top four, then right. Oregon probably doesn't beat anybody but Tennessee.
Yeah. And I think
as Texas already mopped the floor with Michigan, so we don't got to rehash that.
Yeah, right now Texas, man, look, they're so us fans, we always like to look ahead. Texas versus Alabama in the SEC championship, as they'll say online, that game is gonna feed families for generations, right? USC, are they for real or not? So, Dom, I think they're for real, but not on an elite.
You're probably right about
Texas beating everywhere. But I think USC goes 9-3. I mentioned it. I think they're a 9-win team. I think they lose at least 2 more in the Big Ten. And I think those other 2 losses they get is going to be close. I don't think no one's going to blow them out. I think now they're starting to get feel of, all right, this is the Big Ten. And they got to get acclimated. I think you're going to see Oregon, USC, and UCLA, their style of play change in the years to come. Look in Nebraska. Nebraska, they're going to go into the Big Ten. They're going to go into the Big Ten and just win. And they won 0 Big Ten championships, 0. And they've been in the Big Ten 15 plus years. So it's not that easy.
Now, to be fair to Nebraska, things changed there after the 90s, early 2000s, right? I think if, you take those 90s Nebraska's teams and add them to the Big Ten in the 90s, then they probably do well. But that's neither here nor there. My guy Dexter said Texas beat Davis Warren, not Michigan. Shout out to that.
No. Yo, Dexter. No. Dexter make a good point, because I wanted to see is Tennessee is so overrated, fellas, been struggling. And so, you know what, BK, I'm not disagreeing with you, right? Because that's what I'm about to say. The jury's still out on Tennessee. You're right. Let's see if they for real. Because it's going to come. They do have a tough SEC schedule. So we'll see. But they might end up being frauds. I'm not disagreeing with you, champ. I think that might be the case. But then what was the point I was going to make before that?
Yeah, Dom. Utah just lost.
Utah? Who beat Utah? Arizona.
Yeah.
Arizona beat them. But look. USC going 10-2. Okay, I say 9-3, but I can see that as well.
The game, they got a Penn State.
They got Penn State at home.
Right?
Penn State at home, so that might be a night game as well.
Do they play Oregon? They play
No.
Oregon, right? How did they do that? The scheduling gods.
Listen,
didn't put that together.
They cooked Michigan. Of the four, right? Of the four new Big Ten teams,
They gave them the best
we
three.
got the three. Washington, USC, and Oregon. Shit,
right.
we could have been. I wish we was going into UCLA. I wish we was going into the Rose Bowl this Saturday.
Yeah.
I would have felt 10 times more, more comfortable. But this is college football. You gotta come to play every week, guys. You're gonna see more upsets this year. There's gonna be games that we're gonna say they have no chance of winning this week, and they're gonna win. So that's the beauty about it. You got to come and play every week, especially on the road, man. It could happen.
What up,
Les Austin? What up, champ? So let me tell you this: if Texas, we just say Texas, Ohio State,
right?
How you see that going? If they played Saturday, they was playing Saturday.
Well, first of all, I don't want to be out here extolling praise on the other state, but I'll do it for this. For the purposes of this, right? They playing pretty good football. They just beat poor little bro them. But I think Texas is a better team right now. Texas has both of Texas's quarterbacks are better than Will Howard. Let's start there.
Yeah.
They could go with yours. They could go with Arch. Both of them are better than Will Howard. Now, the other state has the best receiver on the field. And it just so happened that he's a freshman. And then the backside of that, the other state defense is pretty solid. I like Texas's front. I think that's a good game. I think it turns out to be a decent game. I'm going to edge it to Texas because of the quarterback play. They got much better quarterback play, in my opinion. Real quick before you go, though, shout out to Dexter Green with the $5 super chat. I was at the Texas game screaming for Orgy after the second series. My guy should have started from the jump. Moore dropped the ball.
Well, that's where I was going. Thank you. Okay. I wanted to see, based on the style we play now with Orgy, how Michigan would have fared against Texas, because I think Texas still wins the game. Don't get me wrong. I don't think we would have won. But remember, you mentioned it too. We were running the ball pretty effective in that game. We just went away from it. So physicality, that in the phone booth, I wanted to see how that would have looked. I still think, again, Texas wins, but it's probably not 31-12.
Yeah.
So
let's get to my guy. Struggle says they I can't talk. Purposely shitted on Michigan. Michigan plays everybody. They took Michigan easy games away, replaced them with Oregon and USC. That's a fact. Look, and the way they staggered that schedule, bro, that was trash. Like, if Michigan could have started the season, if we could have started like this, it'd have probably been different. If we could have started with Fresno, Arkansas State, Texas, you know what I mean? That would have been better than Fresno, Texas, Arkansas State, USC, right? That's how it went, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't like the staggering of that early part of the schedule. I would have much rather played the two easier opponents first, and then got into the Texas joint, just to give, because you want to go this way, and not kind of wavy like that. But I agree with Struggle. They set us up a little bit. Texas would have won because of the line. That's a fact. We did not just the linebackers. Everybody in the secondary, not named Will Johnson, struggled in that Texas game, and the linebackers.
Yeah, it was definitely
the defensive line struggled in that game. Everybody,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Whose name wasn't Will Johnson. Yeah,
shout the Texas O-line, man, and man, I can't wait to see. Speaking of them having two quarterbacks, man. I told you, man, Archie Manning, I don't know, man. I think his father's a brother, man. Because the way that dude Wheels is, bro, the way he run, bro. Listen, his dad might want to get a paternity test, man. Dude is he's a problem, man. Archie, Texas is set up lovely for the future, man. And they're gonna need that because they in that SEC, and the way Bama's playing. Expect them to continue getting those recruits. Either way the schedule goes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we and like you said, you mentioned it many times. Nothing personal against Davis Warren. We saw him 3 games, 12 quarters. It just wasn't it. Bottom line. It wasn't going to get any better. And if it did, it was going to be Michigan was going to be 3 and like 6 before it's like, oh, now he's starting to improve. No, we want to salvage the season. And right now, we right there. Michigan's on the edge, man. We a team, mentioned it. Expect every week to be scratch and claw. Get your blood pressure medicine ready. Get your refills. Have them beside you because those are the games Michigan are going to have. Hopefully, we could just play from the opening kickoff to the final whistle in the 4th quarter, and we say, there we go. Finally, a complete game by this team this year.
Hallmark movie. Yo. Shout out to Dom. Nah, that's real, man. No, look, because his story is amazing, bro. Like, I think everybody like fell in love with the story and they wanted that to play out on the field. And if it would have played out on the field, it would have been fantastical. But the problem is it didn't. And all we got is this story now. We just look like, Mott's Hospital is, you know what I mean? But and then we went out there and let some Make-A-Wish kid play quarterback. Pause, because I don't mean that like that. That sounded awful, bro. I ain't mean it like that. Davis Warren, don't take that personal. But
no. Shout to Davis Warren. And I think based on what Kirk Campbell wanted to run offensively,
Warren I'm about to cut it off.
Yo. He's gonna so struggle. You saying that he's gonna be coaching White Castle Tech soon.
Yo.
Hey, he might, but you listen, he might be a great offensive coordinator. Yo, this is how it works. How it works.
Shout out to Marmar.
Detroit versus everybody. Yes, sir.
They were trying to get this ESPN feature on Warren.
Yo, he had to go undefeated.
Struggling my
on the humor. That's all right, man. Listen, man, it's all love. We're not saying this in all love. We understand that his story is amazing. We will never make light of something of that state, but we're just talking about him as a football player.
Man, you think Struggle, let me ask you, what do you think about the Washington game this week? You think Michigan wins or loses that game this week?
That's listen, I said we could go 9-3. I mean it like that, man. Yeah, all love to the kid. Absolutely, absolutely. If we go 9-3, right?
Yeah.
I will be happy with based on what we have. I know I because it reminds me of 2017 all over again, right? People getting on Sharon Moore. Same thing happened with Harbaugh in 2017. Let's be clear. And that was Harbaugh's 3rd year as head coach. His 3rd year as head coach. And we had John O'Corn as our quarterback and Wilton Spate, who got injured in the Purdue game. So people need to relax, bro. Like by his 3rd year, Sharon Moore gonna have some guns there. We should be lighting it up by his 3rd year, based on what we have at quarterback and what we got coming in, and based on the playmakers we're gonna have on the outside.
Hey, Marmar said you capping about being happy about 9-3.
Marmar, this is what I say, Marmar, and I don't want 9-3. I don't. Based on these last 3 years, I'm spoil you. I'm not spoil you kid that's getting everything for Christmas. So I don't want 9-3. But based on what it could have been, look, Marmar, we could have lost that USC game and we could have lost that Minnesota. Right now, we could have been what? Bro.
Right.
If we lose
every game from here to November, late November, and win that one, I'm good.
That's the natty, baby. But listen, Michigan, I think realistically can go into Ohio State 10-1. Is it realistic? Is it gonna happen? I don't think so. But
I think it's gonna happen.
They just gotta listen because the look, I saw Indiana. Maryland was running the ball on them. They soft in the trenches defensively. He doesn't got those players yet. Give Indiana a year or two, they might be scary good. Washington, defensively, they're solid defense. This team is, to me, they better than Minnesota, right? And we got to go on the road. And Will Rogers is no slouch. I think the dude's been throwing for over 300 yards. They got that running back, Jonah Coleman. He's a beast, man. He's a beast. And they got that wide receiver.
Yeah, not 6 weeks, bro.
Not 6 weeks, man. We won. Look, I tell you this. In order for Michigan to win Saturday, it's going to have to be, again, more running than anything. Because the question, the noise,
it's going to have to be that way going forward.
It's going to be a lot of false starts, man. Let's see how much has this offensive line gelled, because we can't get behind the sticks. You don't want to start Orgy at 1st and 15. We go from 3rd and 1 to 3rd and 6 now. I thought we can't be doing that. So, and also another thing, fellas, Michigan has turned the ball over in every single game this year. Multiple times in every game, with the exception of the Fresno State game and the Minnesota. So we cannot turn the ball over neither, man. You can't do that.
This is real right here. Ripstar just brought up a great point, because this does kill Michigan, especially if they are trying to be this run dominant team, right? Like, you got to be able to get a couple first downs, at least 1-2 first downs every drive, pretty much, to, run the time off the clock, keep that defense off the field. Because that's another thing. If the defense, somebody brought it up early in this, the defense, playing like 70 snaps, man, they out there a lot. You know what I mean? Because Michigan offense can't sustain a drive. And by the way, quiet as it's kept, Michigan scores on these big plays. Last week you had the big run by Mullings. There was the turnover right in the red zone that led to the touchdown pass. The week before, 3 big runs against USC. So we have to be able to sustain a drive and matriculate the ball down the field, as they say. So I think that Michigan needs to get better at that too. And like Ripstar says, it demoralizes and tires the defense. Yeah, and it'll demoralize the opponent's defense if we just stuffing it down their throat, getting first downs for sure.
And you wanna, and that's more than anything. It needs to speak to Dr. Phil. More than anything, on the road, you really need that sustained drives. Even if you're not scoring, we want to make Washington drive the length of the field. Don't want to give them short fields. So we really have to, man.
Yeah, so I think this is the plan, man. If we can keep those throws to about 15 a game, then that means we probably running the ball effectively. And he's only having to throw like on the 3rd down or sometime on a 1st down just to change things up and give them a different look. So I think that's a
do you think we see a little bit different wrinkles this week? I was never a fan of, I remember Michigan fans, we're saving the playbook. Man, screw saving the playbook. Throw everything out there. I don't give film to the teams. I don't care. Do not talk about, we held back. For what? To lose? No, man. You win. I don't care. Everybody know Michigan going to run the ball. That's why we've been even with JJ. That's why I never understood people talking about, you guys cheated. How we cheated? Everybody know Michigan was a run-first team.
Right.
So, yeah, we did cheat. We told you we were going to run the ball, and y'all couldn't stop it. So, yeah, we cheated. We said, look, we're going to run it, stop it. USC didn't do it. Minnesota didn't do it. The world knew it. So come on, people got to understand that this is Michigan football. The only problem is we know JJ can make those throws. We had a quarterback that, he was the best. You mentioned
he was the best on 3rd and long specifically. Yeah.
3rd and long at that.
Yeah. So we are missing that. And I think he completed something like 70+% of his passes anyway, all of last year. So, I mean, it was a different situation, right? We don't have necessarily that, but we don't need that either, right? You don't need that to be successful. It just helps to be successful for sure. And I think 11-1 going into that or 10-1 going into that Ohio State game is not too far fetched, especially
It's
because I
not.
think we can dominate up front with Oregon. And this game against Washington is certainly going to be a test on the road. But if they come out of that unscathed, then I see some good things. Now, Illinois is a problem. We play Illinois at Illinois.
After the bye.
That could
After
be a
the bye.
problem. That could be a problem, but we'll
Yeah.
see what happens.
But it's good because they're not an explosive offense, right? And people are gonna say, well, so was Minnesota. So it's still they're stylistically that game favors Michigan. The only reason you might have leaned towards Illinois slightly because they're at home. But if
For sure.
it's on a neutral field, Michigan is the favorite. And it all depends how we look, right? Because we're the ranked number 10 team, right? Going against a 2-loss team, and we like a 3-point underdog. That shit don't make sense to me, right?
Yeah.
But I also wanted to ask you this, Madman. As far as Orgy, would you like to see him pull the ball more, that them run more of a read option kind of offense? Because I also said I would like to see him carry the ball, design plays, whether they design or him pulling it. Because again, there was a drive, 3rd and 1 against Minnesota. Orgy pulls that ball. He gets the first down and more by miles. Why we're not using him to that extent? That is his best thing. His biggest asset is his feet, right? Let him run the ball. Why we like, I don't know what they're really doing with him. This game against Minnesota, there wasn't really much design runs for Orgy, if any. I don't remember. USC, yes, we had a couple, but that's it. What's your thoughts on that? Would you like to see more of a read option kind of offense? Because remember, you have to tailor what you have.
Yeah, no, I would love to see more of a read option type of offense because again, it it puts him in play, puts him more in play, right? And like I was explaining after in the immediate reaction, it becomes a numbers game, and especially with read option, right? If we can bring more people to focus on a run, then it also will eventually open up to a RPO, right? Where now we're doing read option, we read option people to death until they are focused on like USC did in that second half where they were just crashing, the edges with blitzers, and then you can hit them over the middle with a big pass play after faking the run, right? So I would like to see read option a lot more just to open some other things up,
Yeah,
if nothing else.
I just don't get it. Again, I'm not trying to say I know more than these coaches, but this is just common sense.
Yeah,
Everybody
no,
sees.
we know that struggle. That's what I'm saying. If they get
Yeah.
into actual read option, then
Correct.
it can bring on a situation where, teams like I said with USC crashing those edges and then you hit them across the middle with something big. So, but yeah, we
Yeah.
know that, and it does look like read option at times, but it's not.
It's not.
Those are
No.
designed
Yeah, struggle.
for
That's what I
yeah.
was just telling man. Do you want to see that more? That's what I want to see more of a RPO, these read options, because that makes OG a serious threat. And now you got that defensive end. Not know, should I crash? Do I go? I don't know. And these
Right.
linebackers, you freeze them, and you know who's right behind them. That's my man Colston, Timothy Loveland. So it's we gotta and
Dom
that's
said some
simple,
old
man.
school wishbone. Here goes.
No, listen, Dom, let's do it. We
Word.
got the dogs at running back, shit, or option, speed option, real like
Mm,
it's just simple things that I just don't understand. Like this is why he is. Use him to his best of his abilities. Like why tell her why you trying to make a cat bark? A cat's not gonna bark, bro. It's a cat.
right.
So the same thing, bro. We know Orgy's not gonna sling it. Make him run the ball, man. Let him run these dudes over. And I think that'll open it up for the offense a lot, man. And it'll be more successful. But we'll see, man. I know a lot of people don't have faith in the coaching staff.
I saw somebody ask about the injury updates. The last thing I saw, like, basically, I'm pretty sure Will and Josiah could have played last week. I think they will play. They will certainly play this week. Hinton, I saw Sharon Moore say he was questionable, which is not great because he's definitely the best offensive lineman that Michigan has right now. So hopefully, that's not anything big, and he can play.
Did Crippen play? I think Crippen didn't play neither.
I know Giddis seemed to be out there for the majority, but I'm pretty sure Crippen played, right?
Yeah, I think I saw an injury report on him as well.
Oh, nah, you're right. They said something. Yeah, he was out because of injury, so maybe.
Yeah. See,
sure.
so
we hit this time of the show though. With my guy, it's the Maniac Hour. Let's talk about it. What's good?
Let's talk about it. Listen, man, let's talk about it, fellas. Be happy. We're 4-1. Be happy. I get it. I understand. We're not satisfied with what we're seeing, but we're 4-1, ready to go 5-1. Very possibility. Let's talk about it. We could 5-1 going into the bye. Listen, Michigan is going to be okay, guys. Michigan is going to be okay. I promise you that. I promise you that. Now, we might lose one or two that we shouldn't. Hopefully, that's not the case. But I need people to start panicking. And if Michigan loses Saturday, don't come here talking about fire Sharon Moore. Stop it. Stop it, stop it, and stop it. Right? So, with that being said, have faith and go blue.
Absolutely. Real quick, my guy Antoine Johnson just arrived. Shout out to Antoine. Said 100%. I've been saying this since the beginning of the season. Michigan needs to fully immerse itself in that RPO system. Run some hard slants when the linebackers attack. It's a quick, easy read. Absolutely. No question about that. Struggle said, wait, Hinton not playing this week. I'm not saying he's not playing. Sharon Moore just said he's questionable. He's going to see how he does this week. We definitely need Hinton to play, though. He's the best. Like I said, he's the best offensive lineman. Michigan fans cry like a bunch of pussies. They remind me of the other state. I hate most of y'all.
Yeah.
Shout out to Antoine coming in hot.
God. Antoine be going in. He be going in on the comments.
Cheetah's crap on full blast.
Yeah.
Man, they crazy. You might be right though. They definitely, that's what they're gonna say if we lose this season, even though it's a completely different team on offense, whole different coaching staff on defense. But you can't talk to them. It's like talking to the wall behind me. They don't want to hear nothing. So it is what it is.
Yeah. It's like trying to teach a 2-year-old algebra. It's just not gonna happen. Don't do it. Don't waste your time. That fan base is atrocious.
Horrible fan base. Vile, disgusting cesspool of a fan base. Anyway, we reached that magical time in the show where we must bid you adieu before we get out of here. Be sure to follow me everywhere at Maize Mad Man. We got the Discord up. Antoine, struggle, hop in the Discord. We'll put the link in the video, in the video description. Hop in the Discord, my guy. You can catch me in there. The Maniac is in there. Kinetic's in there. Troy is in there. Dom, I think Dom just joined the Discord. So shout out to Dom. He's in the Discord.
Yes,
and we're going to do some exciting things, man. Me and the Maniac been cooking up. We're going to do a giveaway here soon. We also going to do
absolutely
some cool things in the Discord. If you're not a member, become a member. Join the membership. You get that cool icon, and after 3 months, you get the OG icon. You get all the little icons to play with in terms of dropping them in chats and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool on that end. Maniac, tell the people where they can find you.
See, my brothers, my Michigan Go Blue brothers. You see it, D_boxing_maniac on Instagram. Once you there, You can follow. It'll just take you to all my other social media outlets, man. My brother Mad Man Thee, the YouTube channel. Follow me there. Again, for the 50th time, I'm gonna get a Michigan page just strictly for my Michigan. I'm gonna separate the boxing from that. But from now, it's your boy, the Maniac. Till then. Yeah, Dexter. You see, I got the sniffles, man. It's just been my daughters is sick. My wifey, we like a emergency room in here. We like everybody sniffling and coughing.
Damn it, man.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
hate
get well
feeling like
soon.
this.
Till next time, stay angry, my friends.